can't be late. I've got to get this data disk to Optimus.
完璧。いいところに来た。
I've got to make it in time. Ah!
おやおやアーシー、床に寝転んで無様だな。オートボットに壮大なミッションってとこか？
You won't stop me, Nightbird.
いや、止めるよアーシー。お前の持っているディスク、それは門外不出の秘密さ。お前を生かしてはおけない。
You don't frighten me, Nightbird. I've faced worse than you.
試してみるか。
Hello everyone, I am 87 Render, and this is a production report for a little fan short that I made called Arcee Dreams of Daicon. After making the Starscream short, I wanted to do something a little loose, something like a nutty music video. Enter Daicon 4. For those of you who don't know, Daicon 4 is perhaps one of the greatest fan animations of all time. Made by a group of friends who would later form Gainax, famous for the EVA series. I wanted to try and recreate some of it with the Arcee model made by a fellow collaborator, AndyPurro. So without any story yet, I started to animate certain shots. I asked my usual partner in crime, Banana.Pancake, if he has any songs that I could use to be the foundation that the edit and animation is built upon. There was one tune he had a demo of. It was called Hibachi. It had a really nice vibe to it. This will be the song for the video. After thinking about things for a bit, I drew the rough storyboards. The real world segment when she wakes up would go through a few revisions. I was more concerned with the main body of the video itself, which is the dream. To do my animations, I need to have 3D rigged models because they are animated in 3D using a software called Blender. Anyone can try Blender. It's free and I would say industry standard. The trick is to make the models look like they are drawn traditionally on 2D cells. The Arcee that AndyPurro provided me is a model that he did of her back in 2018 for a personal project. You might have stumbled upon some renders of this character. In 2021, not being completely satisfied with her aesthetics, he did a complete overhaul to the mesh and it looks better for it. The one used in the video is actually an even more tweaked third version. I modified her face a bit because I saw this beautiful artwork by Satoshi Urushihara. He's a manga artist and illustrator in Japan, also known as the Master of Breasts. It's literally on his Wikipedia page. I pushed her facial features more in the direction of his illustration. Andy also built her alt mode using the MP51 and Sunbow concept art as reference. Skirt shear almost didn't make it into the short film. In the script, I was planning on reusing the Starscream model in the previous video and applying a recolor to make a bunch of other Seekers. But the logic didn't add up. Even if it was a dream, Galvatron commands sweeps, not Seekers. So I asked around in my Discord channel, and Ben Boyle wanted to take up the challenge to model him. Thanks, Ben. Around the same time, Andy modeled and rigged a few fembots. I put Moonracer and Firestar into the story as a cameo. The Hot Rod model is basically the same one I used when I did Dinobot Park last year. Lizardsaur made the alternate mode, and it looks just stunning and amazingly accurate. He even modeled the interior based on the old movie blueprints. Andy also modeled Kup, a very underrated character, and I helped with shader and the line art. One of the challenges for this character is to figure out how to pull his age lines. It was done by modeling edges manually and using a modifier to shrink wrap them on him. Starscream is the exact same model from his OVA.
What is the meaning of this?
The ghostly effect will be done in the compositing stage. Andy made Galvatron and I made a sphere body for when he becomes Grand Galvatron, or some refer to as Unicorn from the dubbing.
This is Unicorn. The Earth will soon be a part of me.
The idea of her fighting him was just too ridiculous to not execute. Also, in my mind, the original toy colors of him have a stronger presence, so I made a part where he powers up like a Super Saiyan. Daicon actually means radish in Japanese. In Daicon 3, it featured a radish spaceship, so I thought it would be cool to make a brief cameo in this short and did a quick model of it. Why did the Angel Bird VF1 make a cameo, you say? Well, it was featured in the original Daicon 4 short. I already had the models from my earlier Macross short film that I made. All I needed was to adjust a few things and change the decals. I brought this anime-style city environment from Jijin. I modified the shaders so that buildings would look more whitish in color to give it a clean vibe, kind of like the city from the game Mirror's Edge. A more detailed city block was built for when the action takes place on the ground level. The rocks in the desert were meshes with multiple subdivision and displacement applied. By no means a master, and the process is mostly trial and error. One thing that I learned is to animate based on the camera angle. To give it a more cartoony feel, some proportions are exaggerated as if it were drawn. Looking outside the camera, it looks ridiculous. I found out that this technique is called foreshortening. To make Hot Rod's transform shot, I used 3 different rigs. One is for the full robot, one is for the car rig, and another is separate parts of the car armature. The parts are keyframed so that they are hidden inside the body, while another part that is identical takes its place. It's probably easier to get away with it because it looks 2D. Sometimes the characters are not even moving, but the background is. It's just an easier way to control things and gives the illusion of it being 2D. For the ending beach scene, I used a website called Skybox to generate a background of a beach. One thing I noticed that differentiates the classic Sunbow cartoon with the 86 movie is the lack of black shadows in the cartoon. So I made another shader without the blacks for the characters. The Arcee transform animation was done by Lizardsaur, and I will explain a bit on his behalf. The animation was based on the movie scene. He started by setting the first and last keyframes to get the overall timing and spacing down. He then used generated in-betweens to create keyframes in the right places. Next was using shape keys to morph the model into intermediate shapes to transition the pieces from robot mode to car mode. Because of the fast motion, it is easier to hide the swapping of the models. And lastly, he made sure not every piece falls into place at the same time so it feels more organic.
Hey there, I'm Arcee. Hi, my name is Natalie Couture, and I'm an actor and voice actor based in Los Angeles. I was the voice for Arcee in this film by 87 Render. It was such a fun experience bringing Arcee to life, and thank you so much for all of your support, and mostly thank you for watching. How long was I in stasis? I had the craziest dream. Galvatron was there. He was even crazier than usual. Come on, let's play. Gangway! Sorry! Nah, that's okay. I had him handled.
Oh, really? All by yourself, huh?
Well, you helped. A little.
Welcome back, Arcee. Sorry, ladies. Hate to cut this short, but duty calls. Why play with cryo shells? Beach ball is more fun. Easier to smash. You didn't miss much. Aw, come on, Kup. Live a little. Well, I suppose different strokes for different folks, my big friend.
Hi, my name is Brendan Julian, credited as Banana.Pancake, and I am the composer, sound designer, and I voice act Starscream now twice in 2 different 87 Render fan films. The first one was Starscream OVA film, and this next one was Arcee. And I really, really love voicing Starscream. It's great to do music and sound, but then also be able to voice act in these projects. I get to feel like I'm doing a lot, and it's really lovely. So I'll talk a little bit about how I figured out how to do Chris Latta's voice. It was very important to me that I do my best to really do it. So I practiced and practiced and practiced. You know, you imitate recordings of him. But the moment that I realized how to do it was when I saw a video of Chris Latta, also known as Chris Collins, doing stand-up. And I found out that the Starscream voice was a stand-up voice that he did before he got the Transformers gig. So he had this voice, right? And the line that he said, and you can see his face when he does it, and it's very helpful. You know, the line that he said to get into the voice was, there's a little man inside who makes me do bad things. And this scrunching up thing that he was doing, there's this little man inside, that was very helpful, and I still have to warm up a lot to do it. I work very hard, do a lot of takes. I'm also influenced by Steve Blum's take, and I try to do my own thing, So, I got to the point where I could go, my fellow Decepticons, I am your ruler, Starscream. And, you just do as many takes as you can, try it different ways, and then Juan edits the takes. And that's it. That's how I do it.
Hey, I'm Rob. I voice Galvatron in Arcee Dreams of Daicon. Very excited to be a part of this. I love Transformers, particularly the 1986 movie. Greatest movie never to get an Oscar, hands down. Galvatron's voice, it's one I've practiced for years. I watched that movie so much, I actually worn out the VHS of it. So yeah, it's kind of, there's three big bads in that movie. You have Megatron, you have Galvatron, and you have Unicron. So Megatron kind of has the raspiness, I am Megatron. And then you have Unicron with the Unicron. And Galvatron kind of fits in the middle of the two of those. So, Coronation Starscream, this is bad comedy. And Galvatron carries himself with a sense of, I suppose, arrogant cowardice, if that makes sense. So you got to stand, you kind of bring your chest up, bring it from here, Galvatron. And that's how I came up with the voice. It's not exactly the same as Leonard Nimoy's, but it's my own twist on it. And yeah, that's how it's done.
Time for payback, Galvatron. You're finished.
I also did some hand-drawn 2D animation for the short. Of course, we had to have the original Daicon heroine have a cameo. Salute to the 2D animators out there, it sure ain't easy. Next on was the Macross homage. I built this in 3D, and it looked horrible. This is unacceptable, so I recreated it in 2D. It took a while, but it looks so much better. My reference for this is a scene in Spy X Family.
That's okay.
Most of the 2D effects were also custom animated by hand. I must admit, it was somewhat relaxing.
Let's play.
I'm a classically trained VFX artist. Compositing is what I did for years before trying out animation. This is where we put all the elements together. The 2D, the 3D, the FX. Try to make it look as beautiful as possible. Makoto Shinkai's films were a big inspiration on the look of the dream section. There was even one shot in the trailer for Suzume, a sort of mirage on the ground effect that I tried to replicate.
How long was I in stasis?
Only a few megacycles. You didn't miss much.
Thank you for all your support and for staying until the end of the video. See you guys at the next one.
試してみるか。
You're going to have to try harder than that, Nightbird.
逃がすかアーシー。ディスクは私のものだ。
Not on my watch.
うんざりなんだよアーシー。なら接近戦能力を見てやろう。
Well, that's one way to finish a fight.